don't want to end up in regrets. Like, I don't want to do something because someone wants me to do it, or because I want to please my parents. I started having doubts about whether, something that you've already thought your whole life, that I'm going to be a medical doctor. When it now got to that point, I started having doubts that I don't think I can be a medical doctor. I don't know. I'm not comfortable with blood. Moving away from Nigeria all the way to Russia, it was I would say it was hard adjusting, because it's totally different. Their Christmas, they don't celebrate their holidays. Their Christmas holiday 25th of December. Celebrate Christmas on the 7th of January. December 25th, you'll be in school. Even if it's on a Saturday, you'll be in school.
You know that at home.
And at home, there's jollof rice, we're eating chicken.
Yeah.
But here, if you get into medical school and you experience any setback or failure, failure is not always setback. Sometimes it's even feedback. I remember the first time I failed a major test, and I was so sad because I thought I prepared enough. But when you experience something like that, you realize that maybe I actually did not prepare enough. I thought in my head that I did, but then I was able to go a second time and I passed excellently well. So sometimes if you experience failure, it's even give you armor self, that when you get to the next stage, you wouldn't go through that again.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to a new space. A space where we have honest conversations, real life experiences, and faith-filled perspectives. Here we talk about life as it truly is. The struggles, the victories, the experiences gained. Nothing is too big to discuss. On this space, we'll be having amazing personalities sharing their real life experiences with us, deep wisdoms to navigate our lives, our purposes, our relationship, and many other things in between. I am your host. My name is Funmi, and this is LifeTalk with Funmi. Welcome everyone. Welcome to another amazing time in this space. And I have with me an amazing person. Please introduce yourself. Can we meet you?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you. My name is Dr. Fisayo Fakolujo. So I'm a medical doctor, a recent medical graduate. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So tell us, what inspired you into studying medicine?
Okay, that's a great question. I would say right from when I was pretty young, I had made a decision from when I was in primary school, because I grew up in a sort of medical environment. My mom is a doctor, my dad is a dental practitioner, and so I would say my environment sort of influenced me to becoming a doctor. So right from when I was in primary school, when we write all those essays that tell me about your future profession, tell me about yourself, and I would write that I want to be a medical doctor, I want to be a pediatrician, and things like that. So I would say my environment influenced me, and also growing up, seeing the reality of what it is being a doctor practically also solidified it for me. So yes, and also when I saw practical examples from my parents, I understood what it means to help people and see them get well. So yes, that really inspired me.
So your background, would you say your parents were the main inspiration?
Yeah, I would say yes, my environment. Yeah, my parents, growing up in the medical environment sort of, shapes your mindset. I feel like that was what shaped my mindset. And then when I grew older, when you grow older, you start questioning, is this really what I want to do? Because I'm someone that I would say I have a lot of, passions and I engage in different things. So at some point I even thought, okay, should I be an architect? Because I loved, arts and drawing. But then I knew somewhere on the inside of me, I wasn't going to do architecture. For just a little phase of my life, I thought that was what I was going to do because, I liked it. But yes, I eventually decided to be a medical doctor.
Okay, so are you saying that there was no point where mommy, daddy said, oh, because we are already into this, you have to also do this?
Okay, so I no, there was no
There
point.
was no point.
I would say I was more how would I say? I think they gave counsel because when I got to SS3, I was still weighing different options.
Are you sure there was no point where mommy and daddy said, "Oh, because we are into this, we are building something. We also have to do this."
Okay. So for your question, there was no instance where they told me that because we are doctors, you have to be doctors. I would say what they did was they counseled me. You know, when you get to your final level of secondary school, you start thinking, what do you want to do? What career path do you want to pursue? And I was at a place where I knew I wanted to be in the medical line, but then I started thinking of other options like, do I want to be a pharmacist? Do I want to be a dentist? Do I want to be a medical doctor? Just considering different things because I started having doubts about whether something that you've already thought your whole life that I'm going to be a medical doctor. And it now got to that point, I started having doubts that I don't think I can be a medical doctor. I don't know. I'm not comfortable with blood. I'm not comfortable with all these procedures and things like that. So they basically counseled me that okay, not every it's not every specialty in medicine that you have to have encounter with blood, although during your practice you will see, but there are different, they counseled me on the different specialties that I can pick from, counseled me on different things just to help with my decision. So I would say that's what they did, but the decision was left solely to me because I don't want to end up in regrets. Like I don't want to do something because someone wants me to do it or because I want to please my parents. So I would say it was ultimately my decision.
I mean, we've had situations where children pleased their parents and at the end they came back with certificate. This is a certificate I got for you.
Yes.
Take, have it. Now, for somebody who studied abroad, first tell us what country did you study in?
Okay, I studied in Russia.
Russia.
Yes.
What was your first culture shock when you got there?
Okay.
You've left West Africa going into another part of Europe entirely. That is, I think it's a very cold region, right?
Yes, it's
So
very
what was
cool.
your first culture shock?
Okay, so yes, moving away from Nigeria all the way to Russia, it was I would say it was hard adjusting because it's totally different. It's like you said, it's from going to hot to cold. Literally, even physically, in every wise, it's totally different culture, different people, different ways of doing things, different systems, different form of education, different language. So everything was, it took a bit for me to adjust to. One of it was the weather. One of, like you said, the weather. When I went to Russia, it was in October. So at that point, the winter had already started and it was very cold. So immediately I got out from the airport, the cold hit me. So one of the things going into Russia, you have to be prepared. Even Russians, you think they are used to, okay, I've been here my whole life. No, they cover up very well. You wear your gloves, you wear your winter this thing so that your winter jacket, your cap, your muffler, so that you can be well protected from the cold. And then I would say also that I'm trying to think. Um, the people, I would say, a lot of people have a misconception about maybe the people, Russians, and I was shocked to have a different experience of them. I would say outwardly they don't look like they are friendly, but when you get to meet them one on one, they are actually very warm, they are welcoming, they are very curious about us and curious about our country, Nigeria. Some of them are well traveled, so they want to know like how's your country, how are you finding it studying here and everything, and also the language. So before I left to Russia, I on my own just started learning like basic Russian. So I learned how to recite the numbers and things like that. So I had very little knowledge. But when I got there, it hit me when they started teaching us Russian in our first year.
Yeah.
So the language very different. It's not like English at all. So their way of communication, the way their tenses, their verbs, their expression, how they celebrate their holidays. For example, their Christmas, they don't celebrate their holidays. Their Christmas holiday in 25th of December because they follow, I think, the Gregorian calendar. So celebrates Christmas on the 7th of January.
Wow.
So December 25th, you'll be in school.
Wow.
Even if it's on a Saturday, you'll be in school.
And you know that at home,
And
there's
at
jollof
home, there's
rice.
jollof rice, we're eating chicken.
Yeah.
But here, so on the 25th of December, they're just preparing to start their Christmas the next week. So from 1st to 7th of January is a holiday. Then 7th of January is their Christmas. So they have a very elaborate celebration. They celebrate with their families and things like that. And then once is 31st of December going into 1st of January, they have like a whole carnival like in the city to celebrate the new year. So
Okay.
yes.
What were the major challenges you faced apart from the language barrier? Even with those challenges, was there any point you felt like, I think I want to leave here. I want to go back. Was there any point where it was tough?
I would say yes, there were times where it was tough, but I don't think it was ever tough enough for me to say I want to leave and go back to Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes, I would say I don't think there was any point where I decided, school, entering into university, starting to study medicine, the basics, going into biochemistry, physiology. I would say there were times that it was very hard, but I would say I had a good support system. My family, my sister was there. I had friends as well to fall back on. So we were basically holding each other. So there was no point where I said, "Nah, I'm not doing this. I want to go back home."
Okay.
No, but I did face difficult times.
Do you think it would have been different if you didn't have that support system?
Yes, it would have been very different if I didn't have a support system. I think having a support system is very important in every phase of your life. You need people. You need people that would, not just anybody. You need people that would help you grow. You need people that would help you realize your potential. You need people that will encourage you, because it's not always easy doing life on your own. So I would say going into university, one of the very important things is to find your community, find people with like-minded passions as you, people that are heading towards the same goal as you, or maybe not necessarily, but people that you can fall back on, people that can encourage you. Yes.
Was your faith also helpful in this journey?
Okay. Yes, my faith was very helpful. I would say Russia was in Russia I was able to grow my faith. So when I got to Russia, I joined this church. It was a student community church, led by a Nigerian.
Okay.
So we have different churches. Russians that are more orthodox. So if I wasn't in that city, it would have been harder. But in that city, there were a lot of Nigerians there. So we had a lead pastor that was Nigerian. He founded a church there. So I was able to join the church and then meet other people like myself, Nigerians, and people from, not even just Nigerians, people from South Africa, Botswana, different African countries, even some Russians, people from every different parts of the world. So yes, I grew my faith there. I grew my relationship with God there. I learned more about God. I built my relationship with God in that environment. So I think that was what helped me grow my faith. Learning how to study the Word of God, allowing the Holy Spirit to be my teacher. That was the place I learned that foundation.
What are those things over there when it comes to how they practice medicine, how they attend to lives, that you think you'll be bringing to Nigeria?
All right. So, okay, like I mentioned, it's a very different system, but medicine itself, it's quite general. So a lot of things are, for example, I think medicine is one of those things you can study in Nigeria and go anywhere in the world. You can study in Russia and go anywhere in the world, because medicine itself is, because you have one body, you're studying one body, you're studying general diseases, you're studying different things that are common to different regions. But then obviously there are specifics. So coming to Nigeria, we have different, endemic diseases to Nigeria. So coming here, you have to learn a whole different thing, but you're not starting from scratch. You're only, adding to your knowledge about Nigeria. So the system there is definitely different. And I would say also healthcare is a priority.
Over there.
Yes, it's priority. It's a priority for them. So they make it very affordable for people. Their insurance is very helpful. It's quality. So they, even there's this thing that they do where I don't know if I'm going to I don't know if I should say it because I might not give the accurate information, but when a woman delivers a baby, they are entitled to accommodation, they're entitled to a certain amount of money and things like that, just to, So I would say, yes, there are things that could be better in Nigeria, but there are also things that are working in Nigeria. It's not that everything about our healthcare system here is bad. There are things that could be way better, but we are also trying. I think the doctors in Nigeria are excellent doctors. They are, working their best, but it's just our government can definitely do better in terms of organization and healthcare as a priority.
Okay. We are for students, young ones now. I mean, in Nigeria, we're about to write jam. So many students are about to write jam. We also want to study medicine. What is the advice you give to them for those that are also looking to go study abroad? What are the challenges they should be ready to face? What should encourage them? What are those things they should look forward to in studying medicine?
All right. So for anyone that has the dream or the aspiration to study medicine, I will tell them that it's definitely possible, and not everyone's path is not going to be the same. There are some people that would get into university directly from secondary school. There are people that would, go a different routes, maybe have a first degree, but not everyone's path is not the same, and it's definitely possible. Don't give up on your dreams. They are definitely possible. Don't give up. Also, if you get into medical school and you experience any setback or failure, it's not failure is not always setback. Sometimes it's even feedback. I remember the first time I failed a major test, and I was so sad because I thought I prepared enough. But when you experience something like that, you realize that maybe I actually did not prepare enough. I thought in my head that I did, but then I was able to go a second time and I passed excellently well. So sometimes if you experience failure, it's even give you armor self that when you get to the next stage, you wouldn't go through that again. You'll be more prepared, you'll be well prepared. And if you do experience it again, you can go back and sit with yourself that what didn't I do right and what can I do better. Because I remember one other time I prepared for an exam, but the way they do it in Russia is your exam is not your total mark. So your class scores are also important. So we used to have class scores for every class. And so there was an exam I prepared very well for, but then my grade dropped because of my class scores. And I was really sad about it because I prepared well for the exam. But then I was able to go back and say that, okay, it was my class score, because you know what actually made your grades drop. So I said it was my class score. So I think I'll do better in class. I'll prepare better for class. And there was one, I think it was dermatology. I made sure that I was always active in class, so I would get a good class score to boost my exams. So I remember going for the exam, and teacher was like, I know you, you're always, you're very active in class. I know you. And she was able to, the exam went very smoothly. Of course, I prepared, but that alone really helped me. Also, you cannot do life without God. You cannot do life without people. So I'll say, hold on there to God, build a relationship with Him, and also build a community with like-minded people around you, make solid connections. And one more important thing, I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, but do your research as well. Do a lot of research. Okay. Seek counsel from people that have gone ahead of you. Do your research on what you want to do and what you need to get to where you want to be. So you might have dreams of becoming, I don't know, it doesn't even have to be medicine, anything. Just do your proper research and take those steps that you can take towards it, like just little steps daily, like the sum total of your daily steps and your daily habits. You don't just come into something one day. Like, you have to make a decision that every single day I'm going to choose something to get to where I want to be. So also your mindset is very important. You should not have, like in the same one, Venerable talked about how our mindset is very important. You should not have a defeated mindset, because some people want to do something, but they do not believe that it is possible. And if you do not believe that something is possible, if you already conclude in your head, then it's going to influence your outcome. It's going to influence your decision making. So I would say also maybe things that can help with your mindset. Read about things, possibilities. Learn from people that have done amazing things. Read books that can inspire you. Watch things that can inspire you. Surround yourself with people that can encourage you as well. So yes, that's what I would say.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fisayo. You've heard it from her. If there's anything you're going to take away from this, is have a proper support group. Keep your faith in God, trust in Him, read books, and then talk to people who are already ahead of you. Thank you for your
Thank you so
time.
much for
We
having me.
appreciate you, and I believe that when we call you again, you are going to answer us. This is where we are going to end today's episode in Live Talk with Funmi. Bye.